All right, dude. I'm ready. Let's do it.
Okay.
Okay! We're gonna have a movie on Milan. Oh my god, dude. It's like the penultimate week before the actual week of game week 1 right here. The first real week. Wait, you're muted. Did you hit your thing on the mic?
Yeah.
Give me a this Walsh.
Wait, hang on.
It's good. It's good. Nice. All right, let's just start over again.
All right.
Because I didn't realize the tabs didn't even go, so let me go again. Support for this podcast comes from the patrons at patreon.com/FMLFPL. Okay! We're going to have a movie on Milan.
This Walsh.
2 OKs in 10 seconds. I'm sweating already.
Yeah, this Walsh was muted for a moment, but we're back.
We
just restart. It's better to find out I muted my mic like an absolute monsoon immediately rather than an hour in. So
yeah, exactly. Way better situation there. So good job by you.
Okay.
We're right before game week 1. I mean, this is the week before the first week, really. So
also known as 2 weeks before.
There's probably some English phrase for
There's
this.
a German word for this, definitely.
100%.
We know that.
The week before the week. It's just like week is probably however you say week in German. Oh man, dude. I'm fucking tired. It's 95 degrees here. I'm potting 4 fucking times this week, by the way. I have this pod. I'm going on Wonder Goal tomorrow. I'm going on above average FPL on Wednesday. And then I'm fireside chatting with FPL Salah on Thursday. We'll be back on Monday with our game week 1 pod. And then again we haven't really decided Wednesday or Thursday. One of the two.
Yeah.
Right before the game week actually starts, with just panic,
Good.
change all of our good
lazy
picks.
bitch.
Swap out all our good picks pod for all bad picks pod, and we'll go from there.
Yeah,
beginning of the
it's
end.
Fun. Potting's fun, so that's all good shit. Good job by you.
Good news for Patreon people: the Mug League is up and running. So basically the way it works is for Patreon subscribers, you just fill out this Google form. It takes less than 10 seconds with your team ID and just your email address, so I can just make sure that you're a fucking Patreon so we get no scums trying to scam a mug. And then once you're done with the form, it'll show the league code for the private Mug League on the FPL site, and you just join that, and good job by you.
Okay.
Great. All right, dude, budget pod.
And wait, how does the Mug League work? We should just say that because we have people that don't know what it is.
True. Yeah. It just points every month, 3 winners for that month, most FPL points that month, hits are deducted, wins a mug. So there's a first place mug, a second place mug, third place mug. There it is.
And if you get a tie, you get a mug.
And if you get a tie, you get a mug.
Okay.
So if everyone just really wanted to scam us and just went all 0 pointers, we would just send out hundreds of tied for first place mugs, and we would just retire the pod right there.
That would take quite a feat of coordination. But.
Be a big. It's like the GameStop shit. It would be like scamming the market right there. All right, so Bry said, before we begin, when Alexander saw the breadth of his domain, he wept, for there are no more worlds to conquer. Similarly, with so much preseason information available, there are no unknown soups to unearth anymore. Does this negatively impact your enjoyment of the game, or could we see it as a positive to just stop trying to save 0.5 by picking an outsider when it's usually not necessary? And that's what this pod is basically all about.
So we don't need a pod? We just need to cry?
My answer is that...
Is that what Bry's instructing us?
My answer is there's always more soups.
There's always soup that people don't look at and value justified.
Yes. And even the soups that we think are, quote unquote, everybody owns, maybe aren't owned enough. So we'll get there too.
There you go.
Okay, so let's start at the back like we've done every pod so far. Keepers 4-5 and under. Where do you want to begin here?
I mean, I just don't love this spot, really.
I know.
My
it feels
biggest thing.
worse than usual.
Yeah. I know, Raya and Bob the Monster Sanchez are in a lot of teams.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, my main thing with Raya and Brentham, generally speaking, is I'm nervous that they're going to be doing the 4-3-3, 3-5-2, like switching based on opposition. So I don't like that from a clean sheet perspective this season.
I also really only see one fixture where I'm like, that's a really good clean sheet fixture in their first 8, 9. Like home Everton is objectively a very good clean sheet fixture. The other ones that are like good, quote unquote, are all aways, and Brentham's way worse away, at Fulham, at Palace, at Southampton. The other fixtures around that are at Leicester, home Man United, home Leeds. I still don't think is a good clean sheet fixture. So, yeah, he's in, fucking 11.2% of teams, which is a lot. And Bob's in 14.1% of teams. And I'm kind of with you. I'm kind of just like, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. And with Bob, too, is, they're fine, but he's not very good in terms of bonus points and saves. So, I don't really see him. Like last year, he got 11 cleans, 126 points. I probably expect him to be right around that point total again. And what you should be looking for here, I think, is who's going to be the 150 point. It's hard for me to imagine Bob Monster getting to that height. And it's also, like you said, the fixtures for them opening are not good from clean sheet perspective. At Man United, home Newcastle, at West Ham, home Leeds, at Fulham, home Leicester. We're going to be wildcarding early. So if you are going to throw a 4 or 5 goalie in there, I think you want to put a little bit more weight on the fixtures than the player and the team early on, because they're all kind of bad.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And I think what you said is important in 2 ways, because he is pretty consistent, right? Like they have a good manager, they have a way of playing. He's probably going to be around where he was, which is nice. It's safe. And also another thing to remember is that like 120 is not like great, but it's 20, 30 points less than like Ederson. So is it worth $1 million? Is $1 million worth, the course of a season, 20 to 30 points? I'm not sure, like it's totally fine to just go for a 4-5. I still think there's value there. There's just not a lot of upside. And, that leads to, we had 2 questions on Meslier, which is like, pretty rogue feeling. But Kev said, Meslier and Leeds, 4-0 keeper. Is this the answer? Walsh, tell me that Johnston's nailed. They would make everything so much easier. And then Josh said, why are so many people putting Meslier between the sticks? Do you think save points outscore the goals conceded to make the Frenchman viable?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where the so many people comment is he's in 3% of teams, but
yeah, I guess it's
you're trying to just spike those early fixtures. I mean, he has what the other 4-5s don't. I mean, even the promoted. Listen, right? I fucking started with Backmania last year.
Let's go.
I love a promoted keeper, and the fixtures don't look good for any of the 3 promoted sides. Really,
they're really
to look
bad.
there. I honestly, I feel like anyone that just has Meslier is just looking around at this 4-5 bracket. Like this is the only team really where the fixtures look somewhat reasonable. I think it's a terrible pick though.
I have him as of now, but as of now is basically meaningless because we're still 2 weeks out. But I just think that, like you said, I mean, it's a fixture play, and it's the thing that no other 4-0 has, so far as we know as of now, is that he is a god on bones. Absolute monster on bones. He hits the pass completion. They play out the back. He's really good at passing. He is aggressive, like, sweeper keeper style. That stuff's all really good on bones. So like he has what Bob doesn't have. Whereas if he keeps it clean, it can easily be a 9-pointer, which, like Mendy doesn't have that. Bob Sanchez doesn't have that, whatever. So if there was ever a time to punt on him, it's the early fixtures. There are really a lot of really good clean sheet fixtures in there. So you just need him to hit like 2 and you're like pretty good. The question is, will they hit 2?
Think that's reasonable. Yeah, I just don't think that's reasonable to expect 2 clean sheets from the first 6.
Yeah,
8,
it's just it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's and it's also just such a everything with Leeds, and we'll talk about Leeds probably a lot this episode, is just such a leap of faith because we really don't know that much about how they're going to play. I feel like
we know almost nothing.
We almost nothing. They have a lot of turnover. Marsh just had to do anything at all costs to try and pick up points. So,
well, I think we have a good idea of how they're going to play. We just don't know how good/bad that's going to look.
Right.
But what we do know about Meslier is, he can't catch a corner if his life depended on it. And the team kept 5 clean sheets last year. And, I just don't think it's not a lot. I mean, it's kind of hard to keep that few given how many games are played, but yeah, I think that this bracket is just terrible. And, I would be a lot happier if any of the other teams had just like a good, 4 out of 6 good fixtures to start with, to just punt and then figure it out after we have some information. But, I think when you look at the 5 million goalies, I mean, I think that's a good 0.5 to find to start off with, because it's a low point potential output, but if you do spike a few of those clean sheets in the first 6, you could be 15 or 20 points to the good.
It's nice.
Yeah, it's when you wild card and you do maybe go back to a 4 or 5 guy, you reassess it.
That was Hemdog's question. He said, "I'm seeing a lot of talk of getting Ederson and then downgrading the pick to the 4 or 5 once one of them emerges due to the early wild card." And I think that makes a lot of sense. Like this year more than other years, I think starting with a 5-5 or a 5 and then figuring it out, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and I mean, this is the budget podcast, but I think the comment about Ederson is good, because I know when we did the premium, it was sort of like big branding, like Ederson's bad compared to the other 5-5s. But if you're doing this, we're wild carding, we're not picking this player for 38 game weeks. If you do hit a few clean sheets early on, because City do have that really good run, and you don't know where you want to go with your other third City spot, and you want 3, then that, I think it's
makes
probably
sense.
Yeah, it's a little bit better to do that than maybe, waiting, looking at it like it's a 38 game week play, because then Ederson does sort of make more sense, right?
Yeah, and that just has like a lot of, I have that problem a lot where I always think sort of long term, right? I'm like, even the way we were talking about Bob, he's going to be 120. Like, that doesn't matter. Like, we're not having him for more than 5 or 6 game weeks. So,
right,
like, throw that shit out the window and just focus really hard on those 5 or 6 is really what we need to do.
Yeah. All right. I mean, again, to me, this bracket, I don't really want to spend time talking about like Travers or like whatever, because I think that'll happen as the season progresses. If a 4-5 guy looks good and the fixtures turn a little, like maybe there's a Rodak moment or whatever. But initially, it just looks like such a bad pool of players to me, the 4 or 5 goalies.
I think Hendo is interesting, but like, again, fixtures, whatever, like, let me just see it before we go. And that's a guy you maybe wildcard into, like we said. What about Palace, though? I mean, I would kill for Johnstone to be nailed, but there's nothing there, right? It's quite for now, and then TBD.
Yeah. Absolutely, it is. Yeah, and even if it was Johnstone nailed, I mean, that would be the most suspect fixtures. Start. Yeah, with Arsenal, Liverpool, Villa, City, first 4 is just like, what are you doing there? You're you're hoping for like 9 points total. Right. So I think it's gonna work itself out as we get more information. But initially, I mean, my expectation is that Guaita's gonna just play all the league games except for 5 or 6 that he's injured for, because he gets injured all the time.
And Johnston's off an injury too. I don't think he's even 100% yet. So that's what it is. All right. Yeah, let's go. Let's go to defenders. But speaking of,
that's the spot, right? I mean, that's the 4 or 5 goalie that is really going to be an interest is on Palace. Because
Palace,
of the 4 or 5 goalie teams, I mean, we're really the only one that's got an option there that is legitimately good, like a good team with a good defense. All of the other ones,
I was just going to say that's a good segue, because all Palace's defenders are 4-5s. And again, horrific fixtures. We're not starting with them probably, but, Warren said fixtures put most of us off Palace. Do any of their 4-5s separate from the pack? A question probably for later for first wildcard teams, but I'm curious for Walsh's take. I mean, I feel like they're all good. Like, they're all good picks.
Yeah, I mean, and it's also interesting. We bought that kid Chris Richards from Bayern for like 20 mil, escalating to 20 mil or something, like a lot of money. So they're talking about Vieira maybe starting to dabble a little bit with the 3 at the back system, which, if that happens,
that's scary.
putting Mitchell at wing back. I just said Mitchell. Yeah, Mitchell at wing back would make him interesting. I suspect we would play, one of our midfielders at right wing back. If we did do that, we probably wouldn't do Klein or Ward, maybe like Elise or something like that. But I think that would make Mitchell really interesting if that happens. But otherwise, if we're back in the 4 back, it's just Gahey and Anderson are still both like kind of rock solid picks. They're just Anderson's a little bit more bonus points last year, and he had some assists. He didn't score any goals. I mean, Gahey's certainly not like very good last year anyway. From watching us play, like looks very good on set pieces. Like he's fine, I guess. But
yeah.
I don't know. I feel like, and same with Mitchell. I mean, it's not like he got a lot of returns last year. He had 2 assists. He's like very defense first, even though he did get into the final third a little bit. I think it's just one of those where you want to rotate for the 6 pointers, but don't expect more than that.
Yeah.
But it's still good when our fixtures are good, or good in a rotation. Like definitely good picks,
I mean, we get these guys in game week 5. Home Brenham, away Newcastle, home Man United, away Brighton. 3 out of 4 really good. And then kind of on and off again. But yeah, rotational Palace really good. But for now, unfortunately, not worth talking about.
Yeah.
What should we do here? Should we just go like alphabetical, team by team, or something like that? I mean, every team basically has 4-5s except for like.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to spend 40 minutes talking about the defenders, but maybe we can just pick out some names that we like more than others.
Yeah, I feel like if we just jump around team to team, we can either just skip or like shout out one guy, or if there's something interesting to talk about. So, I mean, starting with Arsenal, or Hizzle said, who's the best 4-5 to get from Arsenal defense? I think getting Zinchenko is really important because they actually have a left back now. They
from a team, not FPL wise.
I mean, he might be. He honestly might be. Like there was above average did their like bonus points pod, and they made the comment of, well, everyone on City is a god on baseline bones, so we don't really know how that translates when they go to another team. But there's a chance he's just like getting 3 bones every time they keep it clean, so we got to monitor that. But yeah, from a clean sheet perspective, not having Tavares or Xhaka at left back is going to be really good. So I still think White is just really good.
Yeah, and they're talking up Saliba a lot right now in preseason. He's apparently looking really good. I mean, he's still really young. He's 21, so him playing like 4,000 minutes across all comps is not going to happen. But, I think if anything with Arsenal defense, it comes back to what we were talking about a couple pods ago, that the fullbacks out, stay away. I mean, now we just don't have to worry about that because Zinchenko, Zinchenko and White at fullback is better than Tomiyasu and Tierney from a defensive standpoint, probably. So, yeah, I mean, I think definitely back on the menu. And whether White's playing right back, if he deputizes in midfield sometimes, if he goes back to center back, really solid, I think, agree 4 or 5 option on from Arsenal for sure. I still think White's, just a very steady pick.
Yeah, and I feel like not many people are going there. I don't know. Is everyone still on like Tommy? Yeah, I guess Tommy's still 12% owned, but, White's only 8% owned. They have at Palace isn't great. Home Leicester isn't great. But then at Bournemouth, home Fulham, home Villa, at United, home Everton, at Brentham. There's a bunch of good fixtures in there. That's the reason we're all on Jesus, right? Part of it. So I think they're being overlooked a bit.
Yeah. I think if you're in the 4-5 defender shopping market, he should be like in the top 5 names.
I agree.
And so that, and you just have to make that call. But yeah, definitely a good pick, I think.
Anyone on Villa that you're interested in? I mean,
you got to look at there's only one option here. It's going to be either Mings or Konsa, whoever's going to be playing that spot. I mean, if either of them nails it down,
probably
it's a good pick. Yeah, I mean, that's a really good pick because we're not expecting. I mean, they didn't price the defense at 4-5. They priced them at 5. So you're getting a cheap route in. It looks like it from the preseason lineups anyway.
He's starting every game with the ones next to Diego Carlos. Diego Carlos at right back, Mings at right center back, Mings at left center back. So, I mean, 4-5.
Good pick.
Just straight up good pick.
Much of a piece of human trash he is, he's a good pick at 4-5. Like, there's just no way looking around that. I mean, at Bournemouth, home Everton, at Palace, home West Ham, and then they have 3 tough ones, 5, 6, 7. You don't want to rely too heavily on him early on, but again, right, we're wild carding early and shit, so they have a pretty okay opening 3-4, could keep a couple cleans, should definitely be in your thoughts at this bracket, I think.
Yeah, and then again, same as we talked about Emmy, is like, then game week 8, we wild card him in. Home Southampton, at Leeds, at NFO, home Chelsea, at Fulham, home Brentham, at Newcastle. Bam.
Yeah. Long run of good fixtures till November.
So that's that. Bournemouth, I don't think we need to talk about.
No, absolutely not. Brentford are, I think it's the same thing, right? Where we just don't know what system they're going to be playing. Because I mean, this is not a team that probably. I mean, they should have been 4-5, and it's good they are 4-5, but and they do have a pretty good run, opening up the season. But I'm just not convinced or sold in any way, shape, or form that they're going to still play 3-5, 3 at the back against the bad teams. It looks like he wants to play more, and if that's happening, I just am so much less secure on the clean sheet perspectives. I just feel like they're going to concede more, and
I also
that
just expect them in general to just like be a little worse, right? Like they were expected to be 20th last season, and then they surprised everyone and got off to this crazy start, and then they were bad for 20 game weeks or something, and then they ended strong with Eriksson in there. And again, like Raya, I just don't really like their opening fixtures for clean, so I'm just not considering them really.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair though, with them, I have loved the business they've been doing this window though. I mean, I think Me is a really good pickup for them, just to add another center back who's actually really good. The Scottish kid Hickey looks like a good wing back coming over from Italy. Seems like a spot they really need to upgrade. They really did. They got the kid from Hull, Keane Lewis Potter, who is really young, really high upside on him, it sounds like. So they did do really good business to improve on the deficiencies.
Lewis Potter makes me think it's a 4-3-3 because he's like a wide man.
Yeah, so, and they have Wissa. He was playing more, and they with Bumo and Tony. I mean, it does look that way, and it does make to me in my head sense. It makes sense to kind of switch back and forth in those formations as he was doing at the end of the season. Now that they really do have the personnel, they have a lot of center backs with Me in there. I mean, once Ayer gets fit and Pinnock gets fit, they have good center backs. Yeah. So and Jansen. I mean, one of those four is not playing in a back three, and that's a really really good deep top four center back for any team in the division. Yeah. Like Man United would kill people for those four center backs to be their top four center backs. I mean, that's kind of where they're at. So they do have the personnel there to to be solid, but I'm just I don't know. I'm just not there yet.
Yeah. Brighton on the other end, they have a ton of 4-5s and Kukurea at 5, but he might not be there. Simple Monk said, is Dunk an underpriced standout in this bracket with all right fixtures, guaranteed minutes, good set piece threat, or is there reason to believe that last season's low goal and assist totals will be repeated? And Warren said, if Cuckoo goes, are Brighton in a void after losing their two best players? They survived losing Ben White, fine, but this feels like too many guys to replace. That is something that is a bit concerning, but it's also something that like I have no idea how to quantify, right? Like they lose Ben White, who's their by far best defender, and they don't miss a beat at all. Like I forgot he even played there.
They also shipped Burnout. He was playing a lot of minutes for them.
Yep, they also shipped Burnout and just kept being fine. So I don't know what to make of it.
Yeah. To me, I think that question is more, how much do you believe in Potter and the system? Because, they've kind of, since Potter's been there, not had like great players or like individual players who are like, wow, this guy's fucking sick. Like he just has these random fucks who kind of, he rotates around and they just do dumb Brighton shit and they score 2-1 sometimes, and they in the mid table, whatever they do, whatever they do. I still don't really know what they do, but I think if Caicedo is going to come in for the Bissouma role, I mean they definitely need to add some bodies in defense because they have like no defenders right now. But I think that they're just going to be fine. I think they're just going to continue to be what they have been before. And I mean Dunk. It would have been stupid to put Dunk at $5 million. He would have just been in no teams. Like he shouldn't probably have been $5 million last year either. I mean, he's spiking these returns with 5 or 6 goal involvements in 1920 and 2021. Hitting 130, but the team keeps around 10 cleans a year, and that's it's fine. They're not an elite team. They're not great. They're not going to come in and keep 16 or something where it really is going to make a mockery of a 4-5 tag. I think you still just look at Brighton like you would look at, any of the other 4-5 teams where you want to rotate them, right? Like rotate them in the bad fixtures. And, you just hope that works out for you. But, they're fine picks though. They're a good team.
I mean, I think they're good. Basically the short answer to what you said is I think we both believe in Potter because he's just been doing it with these shit houses. So I think he can continue to do it. And regarding Simple Monk's question, I mean, Dunk's shots were not really down. His XG wasn't really down. It just seems like, center back goals are just kind of like random. It's like they don't get that many opportunities. They just have to kind of score the ones they get. I don't see anything obviously that's like he should have scored 4 less goals than the year before. I think I think he is a good pick, and I think he's gonna score some goals, like 2 to 3 or something like that is probably where he should sit. Yeah, I mean, good pick. That he was one of the guys when the game first opened up where I was like, wow, Dunk is 4.5. That's really good.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. I agree with all that.
Yeah.
Good pick.
Good pick. So what's
what
next?
do you think about Lamptey?
I mean, I'm in love with
Too
him.
annoying?
But yeah, he's just
too annoying.
The 5 subs.
Yeah.
With Lamptey, like,
yeah.
I feel like he's never going to play over like 30 minutes. Whether he starts 30 minutes and subs off, or just subs on for the last 30 minutes. And he's incredible. He's so good, but it's going
to be more of the same, you think, with him just missing random games, niggles, whatever.
I mean, maybe it's the type of thing where, like, when he's fit, if he's fit right now, which I don't even know, has he been playing? Like, maybe that's the type of thing that we should just be like, well, we should get him now because he's fit.
Yeah, because he's fit. Yeah.
And he's amazing when he plays.
Yeah, because that's the one, right? With 4 or 5 defenders, I'm always thinking of, well, these are rotational picks. Like, these are not players I want to start in tough games. But the thing that breaks that is sort of like Lamptey, where you have a team that does sometimes keep cleans against the top 6, which Brighton does, and he has legitimate attacking threat. So, I mean, Lamptey is still interesting to me, but... Yeah, I mean, we talk also about, they're all fit game week 1, more or less, right? So that is a time to not think about this because, he's injury prone, but he's not injured right now. So, that's why we get a transfer every week, right, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So,
I like that, actually.
If he is fit, I mean, choosing him over Dunk kind of makes sense to me, game week 1.
Yeah, I totally agree. I didn't even I see his name and it just goes over my head. It's like a past lover. I'm just like, man, but is that the one that got away? But I mean, he started 2 days ago in the preseason with the ones in the first half, got an assist, subbed off in the second half for the backups. Like, what more do you need from that? I mean, they still have another friendly. I mean, it's kind of nice doing this pod now because every team basically has another big final friendly and the fucking what's it called, Community Shield by the time we pod on Monday. So we'll kind of see. I think everyone will basically start with this is our starting 11 in the first half or something like that.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But yeah, I mean, I actually love that shot. I hadn't really considered Lamped.
Yeah, Lamptey, interesting one. So we touched on Palace. Good picks there. Everton. I don't know. Can we skip Everton? Actually, let's talk about Patterson. Yeah. So I mean, Patterson's definitely interesting. I mean, he's $4 million, and Coleman's just not fit and old.
Yeah, Terp said, it seems like Patterson's going to play the first few weeks due to Coleman being injured. I see Baby Williams linked to Brighton. If City buy Cucurella, what do you think about rotating Nico, Baby, and Patterson for one spot and one bench? They're all 4-0. Every season, dude. A week or 2 weeks before game week 1, it's like, oh, can we triple 4-0 defense? And it's great. I love it. There's always soups to be on earth, Bri.
Yeah.
But yeah, Patterson, I mean, Frank's sending really good messages about him. Apparently he's looking really good and, he's getting assists and stuff. And, I always think about, the Justin year when I got rid because blah 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 is fit and whatever the fuck, and
he just kept playing and getting points.
Coleman might just play Patterson might just play the first 2 or 3 weeks and Coleman comes back, but also Coleman's fucking old and not that good anymore, and Patterson might just play the first 20 weeks. So I mean it's probably good.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't cheap. They spent a good amount of money on him last year, and he just got injured, as towards the end of the year. And Frank also threw throughout the back, last game. I mean, if they're doing any of that, you're looking at Patterson at wing back. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely where obviously Everton as a defense, keeping clean sheets with Franklin and his system is not something that we're going to really expect. Yeah, it's just not something that you're going to really expect. But if you're playing $4 million for the pick, what that enables you elsewhere, that's just, I mean, he's just a good pick. Next to Nico, he's definitely solid. But, if you ever start him, you expect a blank, even in good fixtures.
The thing that I want to say regarding that we don't know is, I mean, I think me and you have the same guess, but what we don't know is that, like, was everything that Frank kind of did at the very end of the season with Everton just because that was the best way to get like 1 point and stay up? Or did he turn a corner a la Eddie Howe and be like, no, I don't have to concede 2 goals every game to play my style of football? Like, I honestly don't know that.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, they might not be that bad of a clean sheet team if they continue the form from the last like month or 2 months of the last season. So, they paid, like you said, they paid like 15 mil or something like that for him from Rangers. He's supposed to be good. He's doing well in preseason. It's a good pick.
Yeah, I mean, my more concern about that is just looking at the team and the names that are available, and it's just not good. I mean, it's just not a good. The midfield is a mess. I mean, the midfield is an absolute mess. They don't have a single. I didn't know
they had one.
They don't have a single good DM on the team. So, that coupled with like this isn't big fat Sam here we're talking about. Like, I'm just a little bit.
It's a leap of faith to go there for sure.
Yeah.
But again, another guy who's fit until he's not fit is Mina, and he makes their defense a lot better when he plays. Like, just statistically, a lot.
That's true.
And he's going to start until he's not fit, which is soon, but not now.
Yeah.
So
true.
Good. Patterson, just straight up good pick. Mikalenko, I don't know.
Whatever. I don't know. I mean, I don't think you're picking him over some of these other names. It's just
definitely not over Patterson.
Well, no, for sure. I'm just saying the other 4-5s. Like, I don't know what you have to be, unless if you're just an Everton ultra and you want to pick Everton players.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I don't know
Foldy
how
has him in.
Yeah. At least right now. I mean, look, they could be playing wing backs all year, and it's like, holy shit, he's great at left wing back, and then I could see that happening. Yeah. But right now, we just don't have any of that. So, Fulham will skip over. Leeds, I think we skip over. Let's talk about our buddy Justin. He's over here at 4-5. I mean, the whole fucking team is 4-5 except for the goalkeeper, which is unfortunate. But what do you see out of Leicester defense here? Do you have a sense? Because my biggest issue is, do you have a sense of who's going to be playing other than Fofana? Who's going to be playing? I was going to say
basically the same thing. I think that when Evans plays, they're solid. They keep decent cleans. You can rotate them in. They have like good rotational fixtures. They're home Brenham. You start them away Arsenal, you bench them. Home Southampton, you start them away Chelsea, you bench them. Like that's nice. But yeah, I'm not really sure. I would need to like look back at their preseason maybe to see who it seems like is first choice. But I don't know. The Barrage loves to change it up on us. They're not in Europe though, so maybe it'll be more steady this season. But yeah, I'm not really sure. To be honest, I'm just not really sure.
Because I mean, between Justin, Pereira, and Castagna, they can't all play.
Yeah, I mean,
unless if Justin's playing right-sided center back, if they play 3 at the back,
they played like a split team, 2 friendlies 2 days ago. And one of them, it was Soy, Amarte, Vesti, Castagna. So that's the bad team. The other team was Justin, Fofana, Evans, and Pereira. That's the good team.
That should be it.
And that's with Schmeichs too. So like that tells me that like, okay, this is the better team. That's Sumare, Dewsbury Hall, Maddo, Vardy, Barnes. That's the ones. So that, if Justin's starting regularly, that's good. They're all pretty good.
Well, why is Pereira not the best pick here then?
Pereira probably is the best pick. I mean, he's the best attacker.
I mean, he was a 6 million defender like every year.
Yeah. He's a very good attacking fullback.
He just can't play. He's just not fit. But
guess what? He's fit right now.
He's fit right now. So
theme of the pod.
That pick seems. I mean, like, there's not a reasonable argument I could come up with right now, like to pick Justin over Pereira in my head.
I agree.
He's just. Other than he's fitness, right? Meanwhile, he also just missed like a season. But dude, the whole fucking Leicester team, the most points a defender got last year was 75. That is hilarious.
Well, because they split the minutes, right?
I know, but even still, just that, has that ever happened? 75 being the most points?
It's really, really low.
Even like Norwich players had more than 75 points in their defense.
I mean, the defender who got the most starts was Soy with 28.
Ugh, God.
That's like the rotational hell right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like you said, I mean, he used to be 6 million. He has 10 attacking returns in his locker.
Yeah.
And good bones. So I think that's a really nice pick. And I still don't really trust their defense at all in the tough fixtures, but they're pretty good. They're solid when the guys are fit in the other one. So
yeah, good pick.
Good pick. Fuck, dude. There's too many good picks.
Yeah. All right, Man United. I mean, this is a stay away.
Yeah, I mean, Hemdog said Discord's harboring some extremist views on Delo being a good pick.
Yeah,
Can you please pour cold water on this dangerous thinking? And it's definitely a wait and see for me. He could be.
I think he's a horrendous player.
But he could be a good pick. I just don't trust them game week 1.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like anything to do. I don't want anything to do with their defense.
And Ten Hag could make them better, and he's just
that will happen. That's not
but defensively. But he could, But LR's take even was stay the fuck away from our defense. So that's all I need to know about that.
Yeah.
Newcastle have Burn and Botman.
Yeah, Botman, good pick.
Yeah, I mean
steady. I mean, in the Ben White mold, I think where you're not going to be hoping or expecting rather, these big 15-pointers, but they have good players, they have a good squad, they have good defense, good stats, good everything. Botman, bought for a ton of money, should just slot in there every game and just be a steady returner. Yeah. If he's good on bones, he might, jump up ahead.
I'm sure he will be good on bones. And he has a good goal scoring record, in the shitty ass leagues that he's coming from. So
yeah, good pick.
I mean, fuck, man. How do we sort all of these good picks? How do we choose which ones to actually start with? Because you look at Newcastle fixture, right? Another really good team to rotate. First 5, they have 3 amazing clean sheet fixtures and 2 nightmares. And so you just, I think we do the thing often where we just look at, when we talk about, Trips versus, Reese or something like that, right? And we're yeah, but Trips has Trips has at Liverpool and home City in the first 5, but no, he doesn't, because we're just going to put Nico in or, Patterson in for those games. That's the real value of that spot. It's not one player versus another player, right? So
it's the value of the start, whether or not it's that player or a different player. But you have to factor that into your calculus. But, that's the same thing as if you are rotating, sometimes we're not, right? If he's your 5th defender,
but
then it's something else.
It is worth remembering, though, because you start 2 4-5s or 4-5 and a 4-0, that's 8.5 to 9 million. The cheapest that you could pair with Reese is a total of 10 million. It's him and a 4-0. So you're saving $1 million if you like the clean sheet outlook in your rotation. It's not so bad.
Yeah.
NFO, I mean, it's really just Nico or bust, right?
Yeah, I mean, Nico, I don't think we need to spend too much time on him, but,
he's such a good pick.
Clearly a great pick. I mean, what he has that, right, Patterson doesn't, even if you're okay, well, NFO coming up, at least Everton are a Premier League team, maybe you could tell me that they're going to be better defensively, Everton, but we know Nico is so attacking, and we know that this position in Cooper's team is so attacking. Yes. So yeah, Nico is just by a lot the best 4 million pick in the game. He's in 24% of teams at the time of this recording,
as he should
where he should be. He's just a really solid pick. Whether or not you start him, though, is maybe more a question. I mean, how do you view that?
I mean, I think it's very reasonable to start him for the first 3. I wouldn't start him in the bad fixtures because a lot. Holy shit! Did you hear that?
Full thunder.
Massive thunderstorm. Wow,
that was crack insane. The humidity, baby.
Yeah, that was insane. Oh, true. Need that. But yeah, I think very, very reasonable to start him. And if you look at the first 8, I would start him in 6 out of those 8, and I think that's totally fine. How many cleans they're going to keep? Very hard to say. I mean, they play a defensive style. They definitely play a 5-3-2. It should be pretty far back, and he's going to be really pushed up. Get a couple cheeky assists. He might even be on corners. Don't really know yet. Yeah, I think he's very startable. Very startable is my answer to that. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm much more hesitant to start him, at least initially, just because he's 4 million and he's playing doesn't mean he's going to get points. So you still need to make that, money go far in other spots. Just like I said earlier, right? I still would expect him to blank every game, even in the good fixtures, kind of. I know what you mean. And that's a tricky spot, and I think it just is what is this really unlocking in your team, and is that combination going to be better than just getting a 5 million guy Romero or whatever. Like someone who's
Yeah,
just going to be like fine, like getting me points and shit. I don't know about that, but I think initially, yeah, you could try it because it might just be huge brain.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Livramento is not an unreasonable reach for a comparison.
Sure.
Like, they are not a good defensive team, Southampton. We didn't really expect cleans, but, he's eye test incredible and, like, a really, really attacking 4-0. And, for that first half of the season, he was a god.
There was a good, like, 2 months where he was a good start for a lot for that period.
Yeah, and I just expect Nico to be really, really far forward. Him and Richards are going to be, like, the outlets every single time. Get the ball in, like tons of crosses, probably corners. I mean, he'll just hopefully get some cheap assists, So that's all we want, really, is just some rando assists.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. So Nico, good pick. Southampton, we skipped them.
Their fixtures are so bad. Yeah.
Yeah. Spurs, West Ham. I mean, West Ham has
I think is kind of interesting. Yeah.
They have some 4-5 guys. I mean, Zuma's down at 4-5.
Zuma and whoever plays right back.
Yeah, well, that might be an issue.
Yeah, for sure. But Zuma's playing like all the preseason games. Again, it's horrible, obviously, that they start with Man City, but next 3 are good.
Yeah. I mean, they have the
good.
Thursday thing. I mean, it's long term is sketchy, but yeah, they could be a good option. I mean, basically, and then Wolves have like Aït-Nouri's good. We don't know what formation they're going to play or what they're up to. I mean, he's been trialing different things.
It seemed I actually like some of the Wolves picks because they have really good fixtures. And yeah, I talk to this guy Svenny all the time. He's a huge Wolves fan, friend of the pod, and he just said it's like. I mean, Semeido's still fucked. We have no idea on his status. So it's basically Johnny and Aït-Nouri, and then every preseason game has been Kilman and Collins in a back four.
Yeah.
And, like, they're good. And dropping Cody and stuff, I like both of those center backs a lot. I like the fullbacks. Like, I think that, with their early run, I think there's picks here. And, we'll obviously get to Neto. That's part of the reason why he's in 20% of teams or whatever, is they have really good opening run. They have one bad game in the first 6. So,
yeah.
I think there's picks there for sure.
Who do you like between Aït-Nouri and Johnny?
I just have a Aït-Nouri fetish. I don't know why I like him so much. Maybe because he played so well against Mo. Yeah. And, against Liverpool. But, Johnny is probably safer. When Semedo comes back, Svenny was telling me it's probably going to be like a rotation. I feel like Aït-Nouri might be the one to lose out on minutes there because he's probably the worst defensively. But, I also think that Kilman and Collins are good picks. Like, Collins was, when we talked about Burnley going down, I was like, Collins is like the guy that's who team should buy. Like he's like their best center back and he's like 20 or some shit.
Yeah.
And, Wolves made it happen and he's just been starting and looking really good in preseason. So I like the Collins pick. I like the Kilman pick.
Okay.
Anything else in defense? That's
anything else 40 minutes later?
Hey,
it's going to be a long one.
The forwards at least is going to be short.
Yeah.
So, but the mids not going to be short.
Let's start with Neto. I mean, let's go reverse alphabetizing.
Oh, I love that.
With snake draft here.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Neto, Mishka said Gordon over Neto discussion on the next pod, please. Is Neto the obvious short term, Gordon the long term, whatever. Brendo said, is Neto being the 5-5 sole source of the hype? Good potential value, but to be honest, it's like people haven't watched Wolves last few years. They're bad, blah, blah, blah. Seems like he'll be a 2-point merchant. Am I missing something? I mean, he is so fucking obvious, right?
Yeah. He's just like very, a very
obvious good pick, which is why he's in 20% of teams.
Yeah. I mean, he's either going to be playing out of position 3-5-2 as a striker with Jim or just, winger in the 4-3-3. He's a class player. I mean, we saw him a couple seasons ago. He came in with 13 combo returns in 2,500 minutes, 124 fantasy points. I mean, at 5'5", he has so much room to grow, and he's just a very good player. Knows how to put the ball in the back of the net. He's really tricky. He's hard to deal with, and I think he's just a fantastic player. So, yeah, at 5'5", I think it's very obvious, and we know we can kind of easily imagine him scoring 10. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And every preseason game lately has been 4-2-3-1, It's Neto and Gibbs White wings, Potence at the 10. Like, they're just looking good. They're looking good and attacking a lot, and Neto's scoring a lot. You know, form, I do think, matters in preseason. It's one of the things that does matter. And when you look at Neto, I mean, he literally ticks every box. He has really good fixtures. He's quality. He's class. He's form. He's nailed, and he's really cheap. Just don't talk and he's fit. Don't talk yourself out of a good pick just because he's 20% owned. He's a really good pick.
Yep.
I just think everyone should have him. Okay.
I agree. I mean, he's been in my team for a while. Yeah, and it is, again, right back to our postseason pod when we're like, Neto's, Neto next year is really interesting if he comes in at 5.5, and that's what he came in at. And then just because he's owned by 20% of the teams, we're like, well, what's wrong with him? Why should we not own him instead of just like, oh yeah, like he's amazing, so we should have him, and go from there. Yeah,
totally.
But I think the Gordon comp is good. I mean, I definitely like Gordon a lot too as a pick. I mean, he's going to be on some set pieces, and he's going to be able to cut in now with Rich gone. I just don't know if he's good. Like we've talked about, like he might have just played. He was not ready last year to play 2,300 minutes in the league.
That's
a fucking fact. That said, it's not like all of a sudden this team like reinforced and got so much better where there's competition for his spot. There is no competition for his spot. He's
actually the opposite. He sold a player and didn't buy anyone.
So I mean, he would have last year. He should have been on loan to Luton Knights. Like he should have just been on loan elsewhere, but he wasn't, and he held his own. Yes. He wasn't like blowing the games open or like, holy shit, this is a fucking player. But he was like fine, and he's going to play 3,000 minutes this year, unless if things really dramatically change in this transfer window. But he's going to play 3,000 minutes if he's fit, and he's going to finish up like in the 130-ish point region, which for 5.5 is just good. I mean, last year he's got 4 goals, 3 assists, just played a bunch of minutes, got 100 points. Like, he's got some set pieces in his locker. I mean, he's going to score a couple more deflected goals. I mean, he's going to get some returns. I mean, you don't need to do that much at 5.5 to be a good pick, a good value. I mean, if you return, 7 goals, 7 assists, like at 5.5, that's great.
It's really good.
And I mean, Gordon is a really good option, I think, at this price point. He's just not going to be 200 points or anything.
I think that the way that it was worded is right. It's the way that I agree with it too. Neto, I do expect more explosiveness. He's a much more explosive player. He's much more of a goal scorer. He's much better, honestly.
He's just better.
And he has the early fixtures, so we go there. We're looking for a 4, 5, 6 game week window before we wild card, so we're trying to spike the haul. So he's just straight up better than Gordon in every imaginable way early season. I do love Gordon as a long-term pick. He is very glue guy to me. Whether he's first on your bench every week, whether you just start him every week, he's just good. He's going to be really good value. I agree with everything you said. Game week 1, we don't really know how Everton are going to play. We don't know if Everton are going to be able to score any goals. I don't consider him or Everton as a team where like I'm going to spike away leads. Everton's going to score 3 or something.
Just lose 2-1.
They're just not that kind of team. So like I'm not starting with him, even though he's been in a lot of my tinkers, and that's why we are starting with someone like Neto. It's just It's that simple.
I don't think it's horrendous to have like both though.
No.
Like depending on if you want more premiums. I think a lot of people are trying to jam more premiums in their team. I mean, the only iffy thing about that is just there's not a lot of places to look if one of them does fail, right? But
that also might not matter because you have Nico on the bench and we have a wild card in game week 5 and whatever. So
that flexibility is kind of a silly. So
all
right. I mean, with Wolves, I mean, he's obviously interesting, and Gibbs White is also interesting too, right?
And Potence.
I mean, he is. Yeah, I don't know if Potence is interesting.
Don't be rude.
I think they should have put Potence in at 5.
I think 5.5 for all these guys makes sense. I mean, they like sort of accurately guess that they're going to all be the attackers in a 4-2-3-1. The real mispricing is fucking Jim, who's just the biggest joke of all time. That's more egregious than the Schmeich's pricing, honestly. But these guys are literally all way better picks than Jim, and they're all $1.5 million cheaper. And Potence has been at the 10 in preseason. It's the other guys that's wide. And, I was thinking about Lodge and like, you remember he showed those early signs of like being good, but Neto was out for the season. Potence missed months. Gibbs White was on loan. They just sort of like didn't have the personnel to like play attackers. That's why he was playing Adama and they weren't scoring and it was bad. that's a good, really good 3 behind a striker.
Yeah.
Neto, Podence, and Gibbs White.
They have a good pivot as long as
they stay fit. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Moutinho's a little. I don't know if maybe Dendonker's I'm not sure whether they do, but yeah. I mean, I think Gibbs White is an interesting one to watch. But yeah, it's just Neto scores the goals, and Gibbs White's probably going to be more the supplier. So we'll see. We'll see on that one. But yeah, Wolves could score some goals this year and make them actually watchable for the first time ever.
I expect it.
Literally ever.
I expect
since they've been up.
Yeah, pretty much.
So that's fun. And I had Gibbs White in my Game Week 1 team last year. All 7 minutes.
Shout out to MGW.
Hey.
Ben Rama still exists on West Ham.
That's true.
It's kind of funny. Like, he's 6-0. He scored 140 points last year.
They just got the Skamakas, though.
Yeah, but he's a striker.
Yeah, but it could just push Antonio back and take one of these guys out, maybe.
I guess it's possible. I think he's just like a pure 9, though. And like, I don't know if Antonio has any legs left over, but that is certainly possible. But I just was thinking back to last season. Ben Rama, a lot of us had him in Game Week 1 teams. He started Game Week 1 through 14. Just straight up started the first 14 game weeks of the season. Got a lot of points. And then, Europe and blah, blah, blah. He started less than half of the games for the rest of the season. It was just not an option. They put him back down at 6-0, where he was last season. They have a decent 3 out of the first 4 fixtures are decent. He's still good. I still like him eye test wise. Just thinking about him. Interesting.
Yeah.
I haven't tinkered with him at all, but it's just funny. He's just casually scored 140 points last year, and he's just still 6-0.
Yeah. Nah.
You don't like him?
No, I don't like him. I just don't like him in this Moyes team. I feel like he sort of like played himself out of a job, which you don't like to see.
Yeah. It could have been that.
I was really critical of him last year, I think, performance-wise. Remember that?
Yeah, I always liked him.
Yeah.
Something about those guys. Southampton, JWP, we definitely talked about him a lot on Postmortem. Talk to me about him.
Yeah, well, he's sort of similar to me, thinking of like a Mitrovic type player, right? Where he's 6'5", he's just going to play every minute he can handle. He's on pens, and he's just going to score a handful of goals. But he's a midfielder, just to get some clean sheet points, which, it's just, he has a lot of routes in, and he's on every set piece. Mitrovic obviously is not on the indirect set pieces, but he's on, like, to be on both corners, like literally every single corner.
Both corners, freeze and pens.
Yeah. And direct, indirect. There's no player in the game like this. That takes every single one.
Ericsson,
typically,
I guess, was
no, but even then,
year,
like you're taking half of the corners. Like this is so. I mean, it's something different with him. It's not like talking about Gordon. Like, yeah, he's on set pieces. Well, okay, he's on left-sided corners, of which you could get maybe 3 a game. Like, James Ward-Prowse on every single one that Southampton gets. So. So he's going to get those 5, 6, 7, 8 assists, like just walking into them based on these underlying things. So, 150, he's just going to hit 150. And, it's just a good pick. It's the thing about him that's tough is, when we start the season out, we're looking for who's going to be Bowen this year, right? He is not ever going to do that. Like,
just doesn't have the ceiling at all.
Yeah, he has a very defined ceiling, and that's basically what he's been doing. So, you're not betting on the come here. You're just like hoping he's like Nelson Cruz, like just keep doing it kind of thing.
No one gets that reference,
for a baseball,
but
baseball reference there for eight listeners who understand that.
Yeah.
But when you look at this player and think about, okay, he's a long-term good pick. Spurs, Leicester, Man United, Chelsea, 4 of the first 5 is just so bad.
Yeah.
So
that's where I am too.
You don't want that. I think you just don't want that.
He's obviously going to score more points than someone like Gordon, but it's like sort of the same thing I was saying from my perspective, where it's like, don't really want him, not going to spike calls early. They're probably going to lose all of these games. And then I'm like, okay, after you use your first wild card, that first long stretch of the season, 12 game weeks, whatever it is until, World Cup, something like that, depending how early you wild card, that's more attractive. They have a long run of like pretty decent fixtures. He's going to get some pens. He's going to get some corner assists. He's going to dong some free kicks. Like, that's good. You can hold him long term. But like early, I'm trying to spike. I'm looking at fixtures, blah, blah, blah. I don't want him.
Yeah. And you'll buy him at 6-1, because he's in 10% of teams, and he, and this is right. We don't know when the pens come, right? We don't know when the corner goal comes, and that he could get 1 or 2 in these hard fixtures, but
absolutely.
you still don't want to like bet on that, right? You want to just, you still want them in the good fixtures, for the couple open play goals he may score and shit like that. So,
right.
Yeah, just a steady pick that, will tick along, like could start him in tough fixtures because he's on all the set pieces and the pens and shit. But, I think it's just one that, you want to wait on a little bit for these fixtures. So
yeah, I mean, it's like when you look at just the league, he takes 6 corners a game. Like that's fucking absolutely insane. But then when you look at the actual matches, like, 6 is the average. It's like 13 versus Norwich, 12 versus Newcastle, 11 versus Watford, 10 versus Villa, 10 versus Wolves, 9 versus Burnley, 8 versus Everton, blah, blah, blah. The opposite end of the spectrum is 1 versus Liverpool, 1 versus Leicester, 2 versus Chelsea, 2 versus City, 2 versus West Ham, 2 versus Chelsea.
Yeah. There you go.
That's what we're talking about.
Jay Lings is back.
I don't like there was some genius meme. I forgot who posted it. I'll send it to you, but he was just like, it was like Jay Lings when like Nottingham Forest scored their like consolation goal in a 4-1 loss, and it's just him like doing his dances and just like fucking dabbing like nice. I mean, I don't know. I'm not interested at all.
Yeah, not now.
And the thing that would make him more interesting, there's a big unknown for corners with Forest. I was looking back because Brennan took some, but the majority last season were Garner,
the Man U guy.
Yeah, Garner, Spence, and Zinwinkler or some shit like that, who's also gone. Zingernagel. Yeah, whatever the fuck his name is. So now we like just don't know. Like Lingard could just take corners from both sides, or Nico could take, and Richards could take. So that would open it up a little bit. But yeah, for now, no fucking chance.
I mean, I'm interested just to see what happens there. He could be a name that surfaces as the season progresses, but we gotta wait and see. I was in Cooper does historically has shown that he really knows what he's doing. So see what role he's playing. I mean, he should be playing in a nice attacking role. Yep. Should get all the minutes he can handle. He's going to be a creative hub. So, spring and counter attacks. I mean, it's again, right. We saw what he could do in West Ham, and this could be somewhat of a similar type of, system, hitting on the counter and shit. And yeah, it's interesting. 6 million is a good price. I'm glad they didn't put him in higher. So yeah, he's interesting.
Yeah. Higher would be a non-option.
Yeah. What do you think about this the guy on Newcastle is in every team?
Guimaraes?
Insane to me.
I think he's great. I just think he's so good.
I agree that he's so good, but I just like for fantasy, I'm just like, how is he a good fantasy pick?
Yeah, I mean, he was another postmortem guy, right? Yeah. We were praying he'd come in at 5 or 5.5 and just be overlooked. They didn't overlook him, unfortunately. He's 6-0, but it doesn't mean we should ignore him. Like, he's still a bonus god. He looks really good. He's young. He's improving. The team's improving. He's just better than like almost every other player that we're going to talk about in this midfield tier. Like just as a player, like he's just levels above most of them.
But I mean, you don't get points for the things he's good at. You get BPS for the things he's good at.
No, I mean, yeah, that's the thing. He showed that skill, and we don't know if it's repeatable of like being the late runner in the box scoring and popping up with good chances.
Yeah. The Emile Smith row scoring with the only shot of the game.
It might not be repeatable. And there's a counterpoint also is that his team is really bad at attacking, and they have bad attacking fixtures. So that's bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I like the player. Has not been in a single tinker of mine.
Yeah. Yeah. Same. I'm not considering him.
Yeah. I mean, their first 6 fixtures, right? They obviously have City and Liverpool, so throw those away. But the other ones, from an attacking perspective, home NFO might be okay, maybe, but it's going to be a bust, and they're a bad attacking team. At Brighton, at Wolves, home Palace, those are bad.
I mean, I honestly, I feel like, I know they don't do exactly the same things, but I feel like he's very similar to like Conte from like an FPL standpoint.
He's so much more attacking.
Is he?
Yeah, he is. He actually is. He's just like, I mean,
Conte scored a few goals in his career.
Yeah,
it's not like he's never
Conte
scored.
Like 4 years ago when he has like full legs and he's just literally like a box-to-box machine, But this guy, like, Guimaraes got like legit shots. He's got 2 shots a game, like close range, good XG chances. Like he got in there.
Yeah, no, I mean, he did have a couple of like tap-ins as like the late runner, and Conte never did that. But I just feel like from a output standpoint, like
no, I mean, he could finish the season with like 2 goals, and I feel like we would be like,
that's what I'm saying. It's
no, absolutely. I mean, I totally agree.
Yeah, I just feel like he has so much helium right now, and I just don't understand. I just don't get it.
I like him, but again, he hasn't been near my team. So
okay. And then Newcastle though. I mean, also is I know like Hemdog loves fucking talking about the what's his name? The Longstaff versus Willock like spot, like who's going to win that spot in the team.
Wow.
But I mean, Willock,
don't love talking about that.
I know, but I mean, Willock at 5 million is someone not to completely forget because he did have that spell a couple years ago where he was scoring every game and he looked amazing.
Right.
And that could be somewhat more of an attacking spot in the 11.
Yeah.
So just something to keep an eye on.
It could be like Guimaraes and Joe Linton behind Willock.
Yeah.
And he's like the free attacking midfielder. Yeah, I mean that would be incredible, and he would be a really good pick. So yeah, that's a good shout.
But I mean, or it could be Longstaff, and then it is Bruno getting up forward. More which is also I think basically what we're saying or what I'm saying is I want to watch Newcastle play like 3 games to see whose role is what, and then make a reassessment. But right now, I just don't have a read on it at all, and I want to see it.
Right. Yeah, Willock donged a couple in their last game. I don't know. They still have a couple friendlies to go, so we'll see that too. Man United, obviously, very interesting.
Very interesting. Sancho 7-5 and Rash 6-5.
Yeah. So, I mean, Frankenstein said, I've had Rash in my team for all my tinkers. Do I need professional psychiatric help? Or Hazel said, does the price of Rashford automatically make him a better pick than Sancho? If they were both priced the same, who would you go for? I've already checked myself into the psych ward.
So what do you see here? Go ahead.
Shouldn't Rashford just be in like every team?
Yeah, you could say that. I mean, I think, first of all, we have to look at the fixtures. Home Brighton, at Brentford, home Liverpool.
Very bad. Very bad.
So,
yeah.
It's not great. And we are still operating in this, kind of fantastical world of Ron doesn't exist, but Ron very much exists.
He showed up today.
Yeah. So, I think, we're doing those kind of having that fun free time, but now when the real world is hitting us in the face of they're paying this guy $1 million a week and he sucks ass and he only wants to play on like Real Madrid or whatever the fuck who are like, that's hilarious. You're terrible. You couldn't get into our squad.
Yeah.
He's going to be he's going to be here. Yep. I mean, he's going to be back at Man United. How much he plays, how he's integrated, I don't know, but that's a problem.
It's
that's a big fucking problem because
it makes everyone way worse.
Yes, it just makes the team and all of the players way, way worse. And that is a fact. So I'm kind of stopped thinking about Man United, honestly, until like we have more clarity on this situation. Because even if he's playing this 4-2-3-1 and Rash is playing Rash and Sancho on the wings and you take Tony out and you put Ron in, I don't want Rash. I do not want Rash at all, even at 6'5" in that spot with that team, because I think they're just going to suck and Ron's going to take all the shots. So, I just want to wait.
Yeah, I think that's a good little summary there, and I think we can just basically ditto the same for Tony. When we get to the forwards, we maybe don't even need to talk about that. They still have another couple friendlies. Maybe Ron will still go. I mean, it is crazy because of the early start this season that there's going to be 4 game weeks
before the window closes.
Yeah. So, we might look back and be like, oh, game week 6, we're all getting fucking Tony and Rash, but none of us have them game week 1, something like that. But it's just, we just got to keep it in mind.
Yeah. Again, that's just because I'm like, it's too much to think about. But if the team does stay the same way and Ron isn't there, Rash at 6'5" is good. It's just, it is hard for me to imagine though those first few games, like they're going to really be hauling points because those are tough attacking fixtures.
Yeah. Brighton, I feel like, they concede goals on the counter, and that's, if Ron's not there, whatever, Rashford, like Sancho Brighton, leading the counter, like that, I could see that. I
feel like Potter they fucking destroy Man United every year.
I could see that, but I could also see it like 2 goals on the counter.
Could be.
They just high press, so I don't know.
Yeah, no, and I mean, this could just be like they're going to be scoring goals no matter what. I mean, 6'5" is obviously priced to buy. Sancho at 7'5" is interesting. It should be probably getting more assists and goals, right? We kind of expect from him. But yeah, I mean, Rash at 6'5", we've talked about, right? Is he in your team? Has he been
not
in your
right now? But
yeah,
it was more me looking at it in preparation for the pod, just being like, man, a lot of good reasons to have this guy on your team. You know?
Yeah, I mean, he used to be 9.5.
Yeah, it's just,
he's never been this cheap. So.
And again, like form in preseason does matter to me. You know, like if it's individual, it's weird because I feel like we focus a lot during the season on like how's the team playing, can the team score goals, can the team create chances. But in preseason, I care way more about how the individual is playing. I'm like Rashford's like banging him in, great. That's like great. You know, same with Sancho, same with Martial. Love that. You know, that's really good going into game week 1. So yeah, I don't know.
Still, you know, but right now, good pick for sure. With Ron gone. Yeah.
I don't think we need to talk about Liverpool.
We got to talk about Jack.
Oh, Jack.
So, I mean, City are just getting rid of all their players. So something is happening in the water over there with the jackening, right? I mean,
he's good.
Is he back on the menu?
Yeah.
Jack?
I mean, if he starts Community Shield, I think it's very reasonable to go with him game week 1.
Hey,
that's basically the beginning and end, right? If he doesn't start Community Shield, no chance.
Yeah, probably.
Not going near him.
I mean, I expect Jack, Holland, Foden.
Me too.
It's Jack's back.
Yeah.
Jack's
I guess
back
it
on
could
the menu.
be Mahrez, but that's what I expect too. And, you know, if that is Community Shield team, that's a really good sign. And, like, I might have Jack in my game week 1 team. Absolutely.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, seeing him assist Holland and Holland, like, jizzing about how much he likes playing with him and how good he is and Pep, I was just like, oh, yeah. It is. They are who we thought they were, like, all over again. So, yeah, the jackening might be back soon.
Getting rid of Raz is a big signal there.
Yep.
I think from the team, from Pep, the intent there. I mean, they didn't buy $100 million player, you know, last summer for this to not, like, for them to not, like, legitimately give him, right?
I mean, it honestly everything I said on that last spot about, like, they don't need Jack's shots now that they have a shot monster. Yeah. It feels like a 2-year process to me almost.
Yeah.
They're just like, we're going to do this for now and win the league, but in the future, like, we're going to outbid everyone for Holland and pay him $1 billion. And then we just need more creativity for, like, the post-Kev era, honestly.
Yeah.
You know, and, like, that's where that comes from to me.
Yeah. Yeah, Jack. I mean, it's just all of a sudden, there's just not a lot of men around, you know? And, I mean, Foden is going to spell Holland some games. I mean, they just don't have a lot of players anymore to pick from up at the top 3 spots. So
absolutely.
Yep. Okay. Then we have Leicester.
There's no one on Liverpool. Shout out Carvalho. He looks awesome, but like,
yeah. Did you see that Tielemans going to Arsenal?
Is it here we go status?
I think they're close to here we go.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's
another
big.
Good pickup. Good pickup for Arsenal.
Really good pickup.
Yeah.
Here comes
Barnes. I mean, Barnes at $7 million is still interesting to me. Like, you know, if he's playing and he can focus on 1 game a week and stay fit, I mean, he has like that Bowen potential.
Yes, he has Bowen potential.
Like, he has a 200-point ceiling.
Absolutely.
So I'm not starting with him or anything.
He's also never played more than like 2,000 minutes, and that's holding him back big time.
Yeah, yeah, and that's an issue, and that is really a big the broadening if Broj is going to actually settle energy. If he's going to actually settle there. But it's still, you know, their fixtures are just bad, like their first few fixtures, so it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, I had a different take on it, actually. Like, their first 3, I actually think home Brentford and home Southampton are both really good.
Okay.
Like, Brentford are way worse away. You know, I just think that's like a pretty good fixture. Like, Leicester are good at home. And then, you know, home Southampton's always a really good fixture. Too
good, too bad.
Yeah, and I'm just looking even just the first 3, right? It's like 1 bad and 2 good is like nice. And then you maybe like,
that's fair.
I have Matto in my current fuck around and like,
oh, wow.
It's basically for that, you know, and then I transfer him out straight up. Yeah. Like just 2 really good fixtures. Like, cool.
You fucking perv.
Little perv.
Hey, pervy boy.
KDH, is there anything there? I mean, just glue guy in the future, maybe?
Nah.
Doucheberry?
I don't think so. Yeah. I don't think so.
Leeds are kind of interesting. Harley Boy said, talk to me about all things Leeds. They have great opening run of fixtures to start the season. If one of their mids can emerge as an option, Phillips is a big loss, but I think they reinforce well. Aronson's a pressing monster, blah, blah, blah. Are you willing to punt on anyone? We talked about it a little bit with Bamford, right?
Yeah. I'm not. I mean, I think there are just better options elsewhere. Like, at least right now, knowing nothing, it wouldn't surprise me, for game week 3 to end and be like, Aronson's a great pick, right?
Yeah, I still basically maintain that at least one of them will be really good value just because of how they play.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, they're priced as if they're basically a promoted side because that's what their level is in the table. But their attack is top 10.
Yeah.
So it's like a weird imbalance thing where, it might even be like, if you were going to pick one guy for game week 1, it would be Jack Harrison. He just plays every preseason game. He scores 8 goals in back-to-back seasons. They have a really good run of fixtures. Like that's
wasn't he playing left back the other day?
I don't. Is he? I hope not.
I think he was because Firpo got fucked, right? And Dallas is still hurt. I think he played left back in one of the preseason games recently.
Yikes. Okay, well that would be
cancel
bad.
That order. But
I mean I think it is a reasonable punt. It's just like, I just don't have enough places in my squad for these guys. It's like, right. We're on Neto, we're on Mo, we're on Holland, we're on an 8 million or 2 million mids. We're on Jesus. Like, you just run out of actual starting places.
Yep. Okay.
No, Stru started on left back. Thank God.
Oh, even better.
Yeah,
that'll really work out well, Jesse.
I don't fucking care. Yeah. Rodrigo took a pen. It might be him.
Yeah, well, Bamford was on, but yeah, I mean, Rodrigo, I'm still not sure where he's going to be playing or what's up there.
Yeah, I just feel like one of Harrison, Sinisterra, Aronson, Rodrigo are going to be value, and we just don't really know.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I think that is safer is just the Bamford shout, right?
It's safer, but it's just a big investment into a punt.
Yeah, it's a big investment. Yeah, but you don't want to do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think the Pereira conversation of Fulham. We talking to the Cuz last pod.
Yeah, good job by you on the promoted fire side, by the way.
Thank you. Do you see him as a starter? Because I was like looking at him like, is he a starter in fantasy?
I think he very reasonably could be. Yeah, I mean he keeps getting all these assists from corners, which is nice. The thing is, I mean, early season more than probably what I expect from this team over the course of the season. Fulham is probably a pretty decent investment. Like I just don't think Marco Silva is a good manager at all. And I think that he will get fired this season and they will do something else, because what he does in sort of a Bielsa kind of way, different stylistically, but same concept of he just piles a million people forward and sacrifices everything for defense. I mean, sacrifices everything for attack. And the defense is terrible, but the attack is decent and inflates all their numbers. So they might just like go balls out and concede 3+ in half of these games in the first like 8 game weeks, but score 1 or 2 in all of them too. And then that would be pretty good for him. But yeah, I don't know. I have a hard time with like starting him. I love him as a bench guy. Obviously, he's like in every team, and he should be. But I don't know. Is it just corners? Like, it might just be corners. And then that's
it's hard to know without seeing them in open play. Like, where is he? Like, he might just not leave his half.
Yeah, and I think back to Marco Silva, and I'm like, he gets the best out of guys like Rich. Gets the best out of that Icelandic pedophile guy. I forgot his name. He gets the best out of like Decore. Like these. That's kind of the position he's going to play. Like the Gylfi Decore, like box to box, get in late runner mid, right, furthest forward central mid. He got a lot out of them. Like those guys scored legit goals. Like they were like good fantasy picks the year Silva was there. So, yeah, I mean, you could definitely sell me on Pereira starting in the same way as like Nico. I mean, it's not, they don't need to do a ton to be like, you're fine just starting them every week.
Yeah. Okay. Tough. I think that's a tough one. But it does, I mean, that's the thing though, with this, the way the prices are this year, it's really interesting. It's like, when you have this 4 or 5 guy we're talking about right now with Pereira, you have 4 on Nico, you have 4 on Patterson we're talking about. I mean, you could do some type of like weird rotations with these picks and like, do a lot else in your team. So
yeah, it's almost a shame that we only have 11 spots to pick from.
Yeah,
because I'm just like, I look at my team and I'm like, okay, I have Pereira and Patterson on my bench every week right now. Like they're good picks though. So I don't know. It's a weird thing. Yeah. Is there
So
anything
we
to
touched
talk
on
about
Gray.
Palace? I mean, the fixtures are so bad, and we kind of like don't know who's going to play the Gallagher role.
Well, I mean, I think Wilf is still like a steady, rock
Yeah.
solid pick, like
Yeah.
sort of similar again, like to Mitro or to
Yeah.
JWP of just like going to score some pens, going to score goals,
Yeah.
should get more than 2 assists. I mean, yeah, really steady. I mean, he doesn't have like a 200-point season in him or anything, I don't believe. But, yeah, you could probably expect right around 150 and, own him in good spell and good fixture runs. We're good. So he's a good pick.
Yeah, it's just
But otherwise,
the
I think
early fixtures are just so bad.
Yeah, I think, Olise is still interesting, but it just depends if he's going to play Ayew as much as he did last season, or if, Ayew's going to play the tougher games, Olise. But, I mean, if Olise nails himself, I think at 5'5", he's on some set pieces. He's really good. He's very difficult to contain.
Yeah,
He's a good option.
A lot of Palace is priced very favorably and like wait and see. It's like who's going to play the Gallagher role, because it could be Schlupp, Olise, Raksaki, Eze. Like we don't even fucking know. Like who's going to play right wing? Is it Ayew every game, or is that going to be open? So we kind of have to wait and see, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it looks like it's going to be Olise, Ayew, and a strict, like, one of them every game in the right wing spot, and then it's going to be Zaha left with Mateta or with Mateta or Benteke playing center forward. And it looks like
Not
he wants...
Edouard?
No, I don't think he's going to be playing too much. I don't know. We'll have to see. He has to play better. And it looks like he wants Eze to be in that, midfield as the
Gallagher
the
role?
most advanced, not doing the same things as Gallagher. I think the balance is going to look very different. No one player can kind of do what Gallagher did, but I think the combination of, having Doucouré in there and then having the other player be more of like a little bit closer to a 6 than an 8 is going to be sort of the balance that he's going to look for and want there, and let really free Eze up to attack a little bit more while still working a little bit harder. So, I mean, I think Eze is an interesting name because I expect him to actually be nailed. I don't expect him to be not playing games like really ever. Probably subbed off early a lot of times, but I think Eze is someone to keep an eye on too, because he's going to be on some set pieces as well, some indirect set pieces, and he has really good delivery. And he's really classy, so at 5'5", I think he's a name and someone to watch closely.
Yeah, it's like whichever mid is that furthest forward sort of Gallagher-ish role of like, arriving in the box, taking shots in the box, taking like 2 shots a game or whatever, could be really good because they're also cheap. So yeah. Is anyone on Chelsea? I mean, not really.
Yeah.
Brighton, whatever. Fuck them.
Yeah. Brentford. I mean,
Brentford.
I think Wissa is interesting
Wissa's
at 5'5".
Yeah.
I mean, he had a difficult season last year. He was hurt a lot. I mean, he was a big purchase for them. I think that was like, they're like, all right, we got him in, so we're going to be good with it. And then he was just like not available all year. But at the end of the year, he was fucking amazing. I mean, he scored 7 goals.
Every game, basically.
Yeah. He scored 7 goals in 1,200 minutes. Is a fucking lot of shit ton of goals.
He was really hot finishing, like way over his XG, which is a little scary because he was under the year before in Ligue 1. But the year before in Ligue 1, he played 2,600 minutes, got 10 goals and 4 assists. 4 of them were pens, but still like good return numbers. He's not going to take pens for Brenham, but yeah, I mean, it seems like he's going to start left wing every game, and Buma's going to start right wing every game, and Tony's number 9 for now until maybe Lewis Potter gets in there or whatever. But yeah,
unless they go 3 at the back.
But lately they haven't been. But yeah, then he's in big trouble. But yeah, I mean, they have good fixtures after the first 2. Yeah, I mean, another good 5'5" with like high potential, right? Like he's a donger. Like he could score a few goals in these first 7.
Yep.
So I do like that.
Yep. Good punt.
Yeah, De Silva's a decent 4-5. I saw some people. He's in some people's teams.
Yeah, I've had him as my second 4-5, but I haven't touched my team in a while. But yeah, he's interesting. I mean, he might actually play a lot, and he was very integral in their promoted season. He was just injured all year last year. He's like played 200 minutes, so he's definitely interesting at 4-5 because he just like Pereira isn't just a DM. I mean, he would be right. He has some creativity in him, so definitely an interesting one.
Bournemouth's fixtures are too bad, even though I want Billing. I can't have him. Villa are pretty interesting.
So Leon Bailey is like...
Bailey is popping
what's going
off.
on?
Yeah.
What do you see there?
I mean, I love him. He's shown us a bunch of flashes of how good he can be. The goal and assist numbers from Bundesliga were always very good. Way too good to ever be priced at 5-0, to be honest. Like, that pedigree should never be 5-0 because he's probably the team's best right winger. The problem is we don't even know if they're going to play with wingers as of right now. Last game they started with two up top and Coutinho in the hole.
Is that a problem?
That's a major problem.
Okay.
They still have won their final big like tune-up game, and I think that'll tell us a lot about sort of the game week 1 team. They have like I forget who it is. It's like Ren or something like that. But yeah, if he starts that game, I mean, he should. It's worth putting him into teams. I mean, he's really a fucking donger. If he will never stay fit, but he's another guy that's fit right now, and he can score goals in bunches. Good opening 3, really good. I mean, I like it. I like it a lot. He's playing a ton of preseason minutes. He's donging.
Dude, and Stevie after last game was like, couldn't stop talking about him.
I mean, I genuinely, like, when you think back to last season, like, any time he played, he was their best attacker.
Yeah,
he was like
much
their most explosive, fastest, trickiest, dangerous winger by a lot.
For all 6 games or whatever.
Yeah, and like he would sub on, like score a goal, and then come off hurt, and it was ridiculous. But like, he's just
he did score literally only 1 goal last year. But
yeah, well, there you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he has 10 goal potential, and he's 5 million.
I mean, this situation worries me like a lot. I think.
What situation?
Just his situation, because he wasn't cheap. I mean, coming over from Leverkusen, he was the fabled 1/3 of Jack. but the way that the team is right now, with the sheer volume of humans that are there,
so many people,
he's just a bad game away from just being dropped.
Yeah, that's and like that paired with the fact that it's starting to worry me that Jared still doesn't have a first 11.
Yeah.
Is really sketch. I'm like, by now, dude, you're not new.
Yeah.
And like they did all their business early in the summer.
Yeah.
Like you knew the team going in, and he's still like, oh, this game we're gonna play 2 up front. This game we're gonna play 4-3-3. Like, worrying. But
I mean,
again,
and there might be a little bit of gamesmanship there. I mean, he might just be keeping his cards close to the chest to promote like squad.
Yeah. I mean,
fighting.
I think it'll be a 4-3-3. I think Ings is clearly like the odd man out. In terms of like, is he going to play 2 up top? Like, I doubt it. But and Bailey again is like donging regularly in preseason, and Jared's talking him up. And I think, I think this. Yeah, Stad Ren. Like that's their big last friendly before the season starts. Like I expect Bailey to be right winger in the first half, or whenever the ones play in that game. And if he doesn't come off injured, it's a very like high upside first 3 game weeks punt.
Yeah. I mean, it's high something. I mean, it's either going to crash and burn or it's going to be great. It doesn't seem like there's an in-between there.
Yeah,
I mean,
high risk, potentially high reward. Yeah.
High risk, high reward. I mean, it's still like Buendia. I mean, it's not like they're good. I mean, he's not going to be playing if Bailey's playing, right? I mean, someone really good is not going to be playing, given their squad right now, for Bailey to keep his place. And I just worry about that. And I don't love taking that kind of a punt. Like I like punting more when I know the minutes are going to be there than the other way around, because, sure, we're going to wild card early and things like that. But, it doesn't take more than 1 or 2 things to go, the bad way instead of the good way in your teams, to look at your team and be like, holy shit, my team is a fucking mess.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Having Bailey is a way for that to happen.
I just think the price of assets this season is so low that if he's flanked by like Nico Patterson on your bench, you're not going to be that fucked. Like, you're just
Sure.
not going to be that fucked. Like, if he
Yeah,
just
that's
doesn't
fine.
start, you can just run Nico out there. Okay, Nico's on a promoted team. They might
Well,
suck.
if he
They
doesn't
might be
start, he's
bad.
going to sub on with 5, though. That's the thing.
Whatever it is, whatever the bad thing is,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of potential bad things. I just think we're so protected this season with like legit pretty good
That's fair.
cheap picks that like it
That's
is
a
the kind
good
of
point.
punt that I like, because again, the upside is ridiculously huge. Like, he could just like have multiple returns in the first 3 game weeks. And
All right. I don't know. I need more time to marinate on Bailey, because I don't know. I'm not there.
Okay.
Not there.
Okay.
All right.
And then last is the Arscast.
Yeah, I mean, Martinelli is very heavily represented in teams.
Yeah, Chester said, any thoughts on Odegaard? He's been in almost all my tinkers. Tio followed up, thoughts on captain, leader, legend. Yeah, Martinelli's in 13% of teams. He's been in a lot of my tinkers. He's not right now. Where are you on them too?
Well, frankly, there is no world in the world where I can imagine ever owning Odegaard ever. Like, why would you ever want this player at 6'5"?
Nailed, which pretty much like no one else is, and he got 7 goals, 4 assists last year. Like he's young as hell. He's getting better. I can make a case.
But you're looking around at the other 6'5" picks, like.
Yeah, no, I mean it's another.
And even
leap
Martinelli,
of faith.
like Martinelli is just better.
I know,
FPL.
but he's super not nailed.
It seems like he's super nailing himself though this preseason.
Again, it's like it's not that dissimilar to the Villa thing, where it's like, yeah, I expect him. Nate expects him to be first choice, and then like, one bad 45 minutes, and Smith throws in or Nketiah's in for a 2 up top. He doesn't start the next game. It's a terrible pick all of a sudden, and it's a problem. Yeah. Whereas Odegaard is just like, obviously nailed and one of their best 11. I think that one of the like leap of faith things with Odegaard that's hard to sort of quantify would be like, I think of him as a guy that would be really, really good on bones, just like the way he plays. But he had 11 returns and only 9 bonus points last season. So I'm like missing something. I don't know what's happening. Is his pass
percentage really bad?
I don't know.
I feel like
I doubt it. No, it's really high. It's like 85%.
Yeah, I don't know. And maybe he just doesn't do that many actions, like interceptions and all that shit.
I think part of the thing, like the case for Odegaard, if I was trying to make that case, is just like he keeps getting better. Yeah. Every year for the last 3, he's gotten better. And, that was basically his first full season was last season. So, like, he's really young. And if he takes another step forward, just a few more shots, a few more key passes, a few more assists, whatever, then all of a sudden...
Then he might get the same points as JWP. Seriously.
No, I hear you.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, Martinelli's cheaper. Is the same kind of thing of, he gets better every year too. And, he has, 10 and 10 potential, and Odegaard doesn't have that right now. And he's cheaper, and people are talking he might be on pens. Like within his own team, I think Odegaard is like the 4th best attacking pick. Yeah. If I were to triple up on Arsenal attack, I would not pick Odegaard. I would pick Saka, Martinelli, and Jesus. So I just don't understand how 10% he's in there. But maybe that's auto pick.
But, again, like... You're being a little harsh. He got 130 last year. Like, that's basically a JWP season, minus a pen, and that's his first full season.
I still just like watch him last year, and I just don't see it. I see a good IRL player, and I just don't see a good FPL pick there.
No,
just from what his skills are and where he plays and what his job is.
I haven't fucked with him at all. I have not looked at him at all, but that's the case.
Okay.
And
the case has been made.
The attack gets better, way better with the addition of Jesus. I think we can both agree on that.
Absolutely.
Maybe he gets
NT Elements, good,
maybe he
good,
gets
interesting.
6 and 11 next season.
That would be insane.
But that seems in the realm of possibility to me.
Okay.
He gets 7 and 4 and like a quite frankly pretty bad attacking team.
Yeah, I think he's more like best case hope for him this year to me is like 4 and 9 or something like that.
4 and 9 still pretty good.
But that's best case.
Best case.
I don't think that, I don't know.
Yeah, I think his best case is better than that. He somehow scored 7 goals last year.
I know, and that is to me like flabbergasting. Like I don't know how
Yeah.
how he scored 7 goals last year.
Yeah,
Like,
he was 2.2 over his XG, but he was 2.8 under his XA. Because shout out to Laka and Alba.
Yeah, Laka will do that to you. But I mean, I do think that Martinelli is looking like a pretty good pick because it does look like he's going to be starting. I think with Smith
I'm
Rowe
just so
definitely
worried
on the
about him
outside
just
looking in.
losing the spot. But yeah, it does
I'm
also seem
less
like
worried
he's maybe
about,
on pens. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm less worried about that than like Bailey or something, just because I'm like I love Martinelli. I think he's just amazing. Like I don't think that that's realistic to expect him to like lose his job, a la Ben Rama. Like I just expect him to. Yeah, he's just fit. It got a good summer, off, and he was battling some fitness concerns, last year a lot, right?
But he basically started like once he came in, he started most games.
Yeah, and last year, he was 6 and 7. He was 1,800 minutes. That's fucked up.
Yeah, I don't know. Did he start most games? He only started 21.
No, he was hurt a lot.
Yeah.
He got hurt, but anyway, yeah. There are clearly good picks in this team.
He played a little wing back. I don't know. Yeah. He ended the season like starting half the games.
Yeah,
that's really worrying to me.
To me, I think that was more fitness related than anything, and I don't know.
It's just, I don't know. It's just a lot of. They're also making a lot of additions. It's like the opposite is the City problem, right? They have Vieira, they have Marquinhos, they have Jesus. They're getting Tielemans to probably play like another 8. So all of a sudden they're 4-3-3, probably not 4-2-3-1, and it's just like, I don't know. I'm just very worried about that.
Yeah, that's fair. But and they have a lot more games this year, so it's good. Yeah, it's good, but we're gonna have to wait and see how Arteta manages the squad when they have Europe and shit. So all right, let's go forwards.
We're fucking an hour and a half in. No big deal. There's not that many forwards. There's not that many forwards.
Okay, are we doing 7-5?
7 and under.
Oh yeah, we did Bamford last time. Genius. All right, who do you want to talk about?
Well, Tony Gloves, I think we can just kind of skip. We basically all the same points as Rashford, right? I love the player, amazing finisher, great at like 1v1s and that kind of shit. But if Ron is there, he's actually should be 4-5 because he's not a player in the game. So that's bad for him. Do you want to talk about Mitro? It sounded like he's kind of like on your mind a little bit. You threw out several Mitro comps.
I know. I think that he's just like that epitome of that player of just like the teams, whatever, like the fixtures, like kind of, he could still get pens and whatever, but like he's just going to play minutes. So you just kind of put him in and don't think too much about it. No, I think that he's a really good pick, but he's a really bad Game Week 1 pick. I think, you want to wait for these bunch of tough fixtures to elapse, Liverpool, Arsenal, Spurs, Chelsea in the first 7 game weeks.
Even Brighton, Wolves, like they're not really any like bankers either.
But once Game Week 8 hits, when he's down to, 6.3, 6.2 price, he's going to get his points.
Yep.
Yeah, if they had better opening fixtures, I think he'd be in like a ton of teams.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw a tweet that was like, if Mitro's price came out before the fixtures, he would have been in 50% of the teams. Yeah. I think it was like general or something like that. And I was like, yeah, I completely agree. He's another guy you wild card into, and you just hold him for that stretch of 10 plus game weeks, and then you go from there.
Yeah. Jim, we kind of touched on. It's just unfortunate that he's priced this high.
Yeah.
Given that they do have some good early fixtures. What do you think about the other Tony, non-gloved version?
The non-gloved Tony.
Yeah.
The dreaded Tony. Pretty good. Like I'm not very excited about them because I don't feel like they really take advantage of good fixtures. They're not that type of team to me. So like while they're all green on the FPL page, that's cool and it's better than red. I'm still not like, they're going to blow some of these teams away. Tony's going to like double return in these games. I just think he's more, that's just like not the style of team and player that he is. I just think like he's going to be pretty solid and tick. Like basically the same as last year. Is like, that's just who he is and who they are. And he kind of needs pens to bolster that.
Well, he definitely needs pens to blow. He scored 7 goals last season.
Yeah, so for now, I'm not like in that mode of like, set and forget Tony or something like that. But I think that's how he should be treated if he's in anyone's team, right? Not less of like this for the first 5 game weeks. I love Tony's upside. More of a like, I'm going to hold Tony for 15 game weeks.
Yeah, he's just a more expensive Mitrovic to me. Like,
who's just a more expensive Solanke?
Exactly.
Boom.
Yeah.
Let's go. Yeah, I mean, we both love Solanke, not for game week 1 at all. So
yeah,
you don't need to talk about him. I don't think we need to talk about.
I mean, this is like the worst price region
really
of players
bad.
in the game. Maybe.
Yeah, let's just say who should we talk about is maybe the better way to talk about this.
I think Daka is somewhat interesting at $6 million.
Nacho, yeah.
You know, I think you can imagine a scenario that shakes out where it's like he's good in FPL.
He's so
but we
good.
just aren't there right now. I mean, Vardy could always get injured. He's old. Like, things could happen over there where Daka kind of becomes a pick at $6 million.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think it's really bleak. I mean, we've kind of touched on the few names already. I don't see much more.
It's just weird that, like, it seems like this season all the good teams have good fixtures, therefore all the bad teams have bad fixtures.
Yeah.
So, like, all of these promoted guys, like, yeah, we could talk about, like, Brennan Johnson, like, maybe he's on pens and corners, but, like, no one's getting fucking Brennan Johnson. They've at Newcastle, home West Ham, at Everton, home Spurs, at City. It's, like, really bad.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I also don't see that much here. I mean, like, probably the best is like a Villa guy for those first 3. Like, if Ollie's just out of this price range, but like I like him that much more than these guys.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's just not a lot here. I think, we'll talk more about these players when they come, if and when they appear, but for game week 1, I don't think we really need to spend much time on it.
I agree. I think there's a lot of good glue guy, long-term guys, but game week 1, not so much. Pratiak said, who's the best 4-5 option in the first few games? Who's more likely to get minutes between Greenwood and Archer? Do you have any feelings on that?
I would guess Greenwood because he did play like somewhat considerably last season. I mean, he played a few games. I mean, Archer, I don't even expect him to stay at Villa. Is he not gonna go out on loan somewhere? I mean, how the fuck is he gonna get minutes?
The thing that I will say about Archer that I can't say about any of the other 4-5s is that I actually rate him. Like, the little bits I've seen of him, I think he's actually really good. And
That's fair.
There's a non-zero chance that like Ings is just terrible and Ollie can't score, and like at some point in the world they need Archer for actually goal scoring. But,
yeah, I mean, I'm not close enough to Villa to know like what their plans are with some of these younger players.
Neither.
My gut, just looking at the squad, is he's going to go on loan.
Yeah, I mean that seems reasonable.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't really feel strongly about any of these 4-5s. They're all probably not going to play. That's why they're 4-5. So
yeah.
Wow. Okay. We didn't do that bad on time because forwards took 5 minutes.
Yeah, that is good.
That is huge. I'm sweating a lot.
Yeah, I'm sweating too. It's hot.
Yeah, I had to shut my AC off for sound quality. Oh my god. Let me slap some asses. New Patreon signups. Good job by you. Josh, Maitland, Niles, Oaks, Daniel, Oren, Arneson, FPL Overthinker, Logan Whaley, Svetlov, Orgrizovic, and Pratiak Sparsh Samanatara. Let's get in there, baby. Welcome. Oh my god, dude. Any last words?
It's like a relief to finish these preseason.
It is a huge relief.
It's like not normal chill vibes. It's like we have work to do.
We have work to do. Yeah.
Which is not how normally the pod is like.
Yeah, it's not. The game week one, the Monday pod and the Thursday pod are gonna be fucking
we can relax.
Vibes FC on those pods.
It's like we can't talk about Jack for too long. So we have all this other work we have to do.
Yeah,
on Monday we can talk about Jack hours.
Yep. All right, bro. Any last words?
All right. I'll see you tomorrow.
I'll see you tomorrow, dude. Check us out at fmlpl.com. Follow us on Twitter at fmlpl support, patreon.com/fmlpl subscribe.